Three mere mortals discover their ability to create entire universes with their minds alone. Upon discovering their abilities, these three, gods if you will, join forces to create the Dark and Stormy Nights, a supercharged team of creatives with the aim of helping artists and writers around the world while combating the forces of boredom and mundanity. They are the Dark and Stormy Nights.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dark and Stormy Nights. We are doing a little bit of plotting for, chapter 2 or 3, right? Well, if we break up the one you just did into 2 chapters, it's 3. If we don't, it's chapter 2. Nobody can hear you. Is your thing off?
Sure is. Yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
boy.
I don't know that it should be broken.
He's got headphones on too, guys. He has headphones on.
It's been a long day. I don't know if the scene. I don't know if there's a sufficient scene change to warrant 2 chapters, or that it's long enough. But if that's what we choose, whatever.
Look, I'm standing by my assessment that it is a change of scene. So that is a separate chapter because you.
I mean, it's definitely there's a change of pace.
You
You go from
change-
an action to
I
a.
change scenes within
dialogue.
chapters all the time, though, don't you?
This is.
I mean, there is a tone change.
You would
I'll
end
give you
up
that.
with like 2-page chapters if
he-
you didn't.
Yeah, that happens. 2-page chapters happen.
I mean, all right.
It's not out of the question.
I don't know.
So-
I don't think it's important at this stage. But anyway.
Regardless. So it's chapter 2 or 3 we're plotting out, right? And I think we have a basic idea of where we're going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the breakdown's going to be important, I think. So basically what's going to happen is we have to spell out the death of a prominent sorcerer, somebody on the compound.
Right, because that's what triggers the action.
Right.
It triggers the whole story.
Triggered.
Well, I think there's two major beats happening. Is the plot's moving forward, just as we're pulling back and reestablishing normality.
Well-
so you're seeing Elliot return to his life. You're seeing Lee return to his life, and meanwhile, shit's going
They're
down.
triggering the plot.
Right. So, yeah, Elliot's returning home, exhausted, confused, shaken by what happened. Lee is returning to his habits of drinking and sitting at the strip club with his, I don't know if you want to call her his girlfriend or, his
His bed buddy.
his booty call, whatever you want to call her. His fae bae.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God, no.
Wow, I could see someone saying it.
But let's not.
Deleted. So, as those things are happening, which we definitely want to point out, or what have you, there is a prominent sorcerer. Did you say you wanted to name him? Did you have a name for him?
Well, I had a whole scene, but it doesn't have to be this guy.
yeah.
But I just saw someone like, Bryce Walsh, something like that.
Bryce.
Well, it
Walsh.
should be a
Some
name
rich,
that's been
annoying
around
name
for
that would have been 200 years old.
100 years.
Like Sigmund Pentagrew.
Ooh, I love that.
Wow, that's
You
a
just
lot.
threw that shit out there, too.
I did. I had no idea what I was going to say before I opened my mouth, by the way. No idea.
I'm
I-
adding it to the notes.
He still wears old-timey brown and sepia
Was
clothing.
that Pettigrew or Pentagrew?
I think I said Pentagrew.
Yeah, like
I dig. Like a pentagram.
yeah. I was actually thinking of Uther Pendragon. Never mind. But yeah, you were saying Penta, I think.
Did he drag around a pen?
Well, Pen means chief, where Penta, in the case you're saying it, means 5.
So 5 grews.
Whatever. I don't know.
That's
That's
a lot.
fantastic.
So a lot of
I can't do the
grooves.
groove voice. Coils.
That's great.
I can't do the groove
Okay, that
voice very
wasn't
well.
bad. That wasn't bad.
But that's a lot of villains. So
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, I saw this guy in now it doesn't. This is your chapter. Do whatever you want. We can kill him later if we don't want to use him here. But I just saw him he's wearing a paisley smoking jacket. He's probably mostly naked, just wearing slippers. I feel like he's in a
did you just say he's wearing a smoking jacket but mostly naked?
yeah.
Just the jacket?
Yeah, and the slippers, and he's out on his terrace smoking because, his boyfriend bitches when he smokes in the mansion.
So a smoking jacket's like a robe, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I
Roby?
get that's what I'm hearing here.
I mean, like a
I
short
don't know.
robe, but yeah, it's like,
A short robe.
So this was a
silver
So there's all
jacket
kinds
you
of
know.
like hairy man-like
specifically
showing
for
here.
smoking.
Huh?
Did you just like put it on when you're gonna go have a cigarette?
I think that is a thought.
Is
yeah.
that what it is?
I don't know.
Huh?
I didn't name it, but
Or do you just does it just smoke all the time? They are sorcerers. I don't know. It could be that.
It could be that.
like the joke.
Like it's alive. The
You smoke after
smoking
sex?
jacket's alive, like Doctor Strange's cape.
Don't know,
Doctor
never
Strange's
noticed.
Doctor-
cape's alive.
It like moves and shit.
Yeah, it's alive. It's
Oh,
so-
Doctor
supple.
Strange. I'm sorry. I am tired.
Yes, you are.
I was thinking of Doctor Who, not Doctor Strange.
Oh, he doesn't have a cape.
Yeah, no. Well, I think the one kind of had a cape.
Did he?
I think so.
I-
But yeah, Doctor Strange is. But I think we do that a lot with magic items as well. That if they're powerful enough and they've been around long enough, they develop a personality.
I dig it.
So
Yeah, I just felt like he was, early in the morning, or maybe it's postcoital. I don't know. He was just being a flamboyant rich guy, and just smoking outside on his
With his
terrace.
balls dangling. I don't know. Sounds cold to me, but whatever.
But
I mean, I don't smoke, but
I also thought it made him especially vulnerable when he was going to be attacked by a bunch of like porcelain-faced children.
So not only does he die, but he dies naked.
okay. So this is, I think. Look, I've always enjoyed the setup of this kind of piece of story that we're about to do. That was a lot and said weird. Anyways, the idea is something major in the story is happening here, while in other parts of town the hero is completely unaware.
Right.
But we're kind of putting it out there what the hero's doing in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So in our case, we've got two heroes being explained off. One is Elliot returning to the shop after a long day to cash out, put his money away, what
Say
have
hey to
you.
Pops, all that, right.
Right. Just
Return
wrecked,
the pizza sleeves.
kind of reflecting on everything that happened, maybe even slipping a little bit into denial that it actually happened, you know?
Kind of
Or,
hard.
uh,
I mean, his
or
car
at
is a little
least-
effed.
Yeah,
At
but he might
least,
just be calling good reefer.
Nah,
I mean, I
at,
do see that as a plan.
at least a little not ever dealing with that shit again, kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Like going
Or
back
thinking
to my
about getting,
normal life, dealing with my normal student loans.
or
Lock
maybe
the car when I'm in motion.
maybe Pops gives
Yeah.
him a gun. You know, he's telling Pops about this fucking crazy guy who jumped in his car and kind of carjacked him.
I feel like instead of a gun, he would
Yeah.
give him either pepper spray or those little like self-defense like keychain things.
Oh my God.
I feel like we would worry
I
Elliot
don't
would
want to
shoot
make him this
himself.
much of a douche, but it's kind of funny. Do you think that there's an organic weed-based pepper spray?
I mean, pepper spray is pepper,
No.
isn't it?
No, I don't. Why would you be getting your
I don't know.
assailant high?
Because they make everything out of it, so they can talk about how
Now,
you can make everything out of it.
I think psilocybin pepper spray would be hilarious.
Ooh,
I don't
but
think
I feel
anybody
like
would waste that.
I feel like if he was going to get a hallucinogen,
Little for you, little for me. Little for you.
No. That's actually a great idea.
Now we're friends.
But instead of doing it as like, just do like a hallucinogenic self-defense spray, but it's a magical item. Have him get it from like the Huntsman Hotel or whatever. You know,
The caterpillar's hookah.
or he it's one of the items that Lee gives him after one of the bounty hunters dies, and he searches them for their stuff, and he takes their loot. I feel like it's almost like oh God, what was that game I used to play? Assassin's Creed, where you could loot the dead bodies after you killed them.
You can in every good game.
Yeah, so like same thing. He could just you can have this one, and it's psychedelic self-defense spray.
I don't know. I don't want to make him a total druggie. I mean, that's just. I mean, like I don't see him.
But think of it this way: if it doesn't kill and all it does is causes hallucinations, he could fight off other people without having to kill people, and it could kind of fix that whole little thing we had that issue we had with Elliot's personality, and taking him from point A to point B,
Yeah, until it doesn't work on undead children.
or some sort of like sleeping spray. Well, it wouldn't work on undead children, but would it work on the Bodak? It might.
I mean, if it's
I think in our case, our Bodak, what we're calling a Bodak anyways, is a type of undead himself.
is it a spirit or is it flesh?
No, I think it's flesh, but I
Flesh,
think
but
it's
undead.
I didn't see it that way, but
I think
all right.
it's death. You know, it is a dead thing that
Mhm.
is causing dead things. So it is a type of dead necromancer, if you will, the way we're describing
Yeah,
it.
I agree. That's
Okay.
basically exactly how it was described. Sigmund Pentagrew. Do we want to? Are you introducing this as like a bad scenario right off the rip? Or are you gonna introduce the reader to them to this character, have them not quite know why he's here or how he fits, and then by the end of the chapter,
So I don't think we need to do a lot of introduction with Sigmund. I think the best we're going to get out of this is we're going to get to know Sigmund through his surroundings, which is his home.
paint the scene.
So
Yeah.
there's no internal dialogue from his point of view?
Well, there's a lot going on because the villain is here and Sigmund doesn't know it.
In all technicality, Sigmund is not a villain. You know, this is another place where you could almost slip into that that third person but distant
Yeah, well,
point of view.
What did you call it?
Right.
Because I wasn't familiar with that term. That was interesting to me. Where you're kind of in one character's head, but you're still third person.
That's the third person.
Third person limited.
Okay, that's kind of what I was suggesting, but you were talking about more of an omniscient, I think.
Well, I feel like almost when we touch on non-main characters, we can do that.
Limited.
No. I think when we're in the main characters, we do the third person limited.
Oh, okay.
But when we do like the villains and like the sorcerer, you can back the point of view out a little.
Well, yeah. So what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I don't think we're necessarily
You don't
in
need
the
to be
head of
in their
Sigmund.
head,
We're not in the
right.
head of the guards or anything like that. But so I feel like it's the scene in a movie where there's some kind of music playing and you're looking over from, I don't know, 20, 30 feet up and you're seeing things going on in the grounds, right? So you see this big sprawling estate or whatever, but it's rather modern, I'm guessing, right? Large glass wall on the place. Fairly modern stuff. We want to describe things like the artifacts that have been collected in the house, maybe like a samurai outfit and a couple.
I would even almost touch
Copic
on things that
jars.
were actually in history, you know, that
Yeah,
he
sure.
has like up on his walls and whatnot. Scrolls from the Library of Alexandria, those kinds of things,
Right.
you know, that should be in a museum somewhere that he's hoarding or stolen.
Right. Yeah, so
I mean, a
and
lost painting, maybe.
so we get to a
Because
point
that
of
kind of paints him as a dick a little.
I think though that this piece of this chapter ends with seeing the Bodak at the gate. You know, before it passes through, right?
This piece of the scene.
Yeah. So because this is going to switch back and forth, and at that point, maybe we have it to where the Bodak is about to pass through the gate, and then we switch over to Elliot
Right.
walking into the door opens at the pizza shop. So as the Bodak is about to open the gate, the pizza shop door opens and Elliot walks in. You know, and now he's talking to Pops, where Pops is like, "I was worried sick about you. I called the cops, whatever." You know, and Elliot's got, I don't know, a couple destroyed pizzas in his car.
Well, I've actually, now you do whatever you want, but I kind of suggest, without outright saying it, if you look at my chapter, that it seems like he's coming back to the shop after dropping off, you know, like they go at like 5 different pizzas to a bunch of addresses that are nearby. You know, they do one drop, then the next drop, go back to the shop, pick up a bunch more. I felt that he was on his way back when all this went down. So I felt that he just had those pizza bags that keep things warm, but not
So
any
you're saying there's
pizzas.
no ruined pizza.
Thankfully, no. But, I mean, otherwise I would have had him, like, squish pizzas, like, accidentally sit on them or something, or them flying out the window. I might have made mention. I would, you know, but I felt that he was coming back to the shop at the time. But,
It
you know, if
doesn't
you want
matter.
to change
it's a
it.
minor detail.
Whatever.
Okay, so he walks into the shop and he's interacting with Pops.
Right. And even at that, I think we can kind of zoom out eventually or whatever. And they're just, you know, they're having a conversation. Pops maybe gives him something for self-defense or what have you. You know.
Are we almost making Pops like a father figure to him?
Yeah, but he's not his father,
Right.
you know, but
Well, what do we want to do? Because this might be interesting or useful down the line. Is he an orphan? Does he have a brother or sister? Does he have living parents?
I
Does
think
he have
that
an
if he
uncle he
has
loves?
parents, they've already flown off to another state to retire. Because let's face it, nobody wants to retire in
Yeah,
Cleveland.
I think that he's a disappointment. I think that it comes down to, I mean, his parents know that he's doing this to raise pot.
So maybe he's
You know,
Maybe
only child of aging parents that didn't think they could have kids and then had it way too late.
Right.
So they're now living in Florida, retired.
Yeah, and maybe they reached the point where they're like, throw him out of the nest or he's never going to grow up, so they take off.
right? And he's thinking, oh, I'm gonna get ahead of the curve, and I'm gonna be ready to like start my own pot business when Ohio legalizes it.
That's exactly what I felt
Ohio's
like he was
never
doing.
going to legalize it because it's too red. You know,
Like he was going to study horticulture with the express purpose of working for like one of these legal
starting
grow
his
houses.
own maybe. Who knows? But yeah, but it's never going to happen because they're never going to legalize it in Ohio.
Okay, so maybe are we mentioning that he's a college dropout?
I think that maybe we somewhere have him looking through the immense college bills, you know, that he's got.
And I feel like he's reading like High
Maybe they're
Times
stuffed in
and
his glove box or something, you know?
those kind of magazines that like, you know, with different growing tips and stuff like that. I feel like he keeps up on that, or whatever the equivalent is nowadays with on the internet. I'm sure they have an internet present zine or something.
But so the most important part here is going to be his relationship with Pops. So
yeah,
I
so
think
we've
that
got to
that's gotta take the
endear Pops
majority.
to the
Right.
reader.
That's going to take the majority of this section with him.
It's not just that. We know so little about Elliot at this point because I had planned to kind of give away more of this relationship before, but now we know nothing about either of these characters.
Correct.
Well, you know what we could do, and it might be a
What
little
could we do?
stereotypical, but there is a street not far from where we're at, where there is actually a pizza shop, and there's several businesses on the ground floor, and it's much like the Middle Ages. There's like an apartment or some on the next floor, so it'll be 2 or 3 story buildings with like on a maybe an office or a
You're
rented out
thinking
space.
of putting his apartment above the pizza shop?
Right. It wouldn't be out of place
If the
here.
building gets destroyed, ooh, that would make it more his fault when something happens to Pops.
Well,
it
if they're
followed-
targeting him specifically, yeah.
Right. And if the building gets destroyed, now Elliot's homeless. A little bit more drama there.
Right. But we're not
I'm
going
not
to do that in this
opposed.
chapter, right? We're not going to destroy.
No. I think that needs to come later after we've.
However,
But he has to pass through the shop just to go to his apartment, so he can't even like quit his
Could
job.
be. Could
when
be.
when we come to write that part, maybe the one thing he does find, you know, the apartment, the whole thing's busted up. Maybe some of his furniture's in the street, kind of like the scene from Fight Club or whatever, like that, where he finds
Oh,
like
God.
his fancy IKEA shit, but it's not quite that nice. And he's standing there, and one of the tennis balls is sitting in the street.
Yeah, I could see
he
it like
wouldn't
flavor.
actually have to go through the pizza shop to get up to the apartment, though.
I
I've
well,
been
I
in
don't think
those.
I think that's not up to code.
There's usually a side staircase like that has its own glass
There's
door,
usually
which is a
like
side.
there's like a separate entrance that'll go up to the apartment.
Yeah, I
instead.
think by law you have to have that.
Yeah, I've been in those apartments before.
So,
We do have them.
I
in this
realize
area.
Birds of Prey doesn't have that, but by law you have to have that.
I actually do not remember that scene.
Yeah, Harley had to go through the Chinese shop to get to her apartment.
I think she
but
just wanted to.
maybe because she liked that whatever meal that they made. So, yeah, and Elliot can have the same thing. He likes a calzone. Who knows? Who doesn't like a calzone?
He can't afford food, so he just keeps grabbing stacks of pepperoni.
I've been there. I'm just saying. Sometimes you work at the food place because you're broke and you can eat.
Right.
So, but all right, then we'll come back and we'll talk about the next beat in
All right.
this.
Sounds good.
In a topsy-turvy world, it's nice to have something that makes sense. This isn't it, but we hope you enjoyed anyways.
All right, we're back, and Tyr reminded me that we had discussed putting the children.
Yeah, we just
like
need to start
foreshadowing with them, right?
Slipping in little glimpses of kids that shouldn't be out by themselves in the middle of the night.
Right. So we're gonna do that in chapter 1.
Yeah, I think it nearly gets missed by a car and
Yeah.
causes the
And-
accident in the other.
Yeah, so throw that in there, and then again, maybe kids that don't belong, and then like we had discussed in plotting, making it seem like they're normal, healthy kids under the street lamps.
Well, hell, maybe even Pops makes mention of it when Elliot and him are talking. He goes, "Did you see those weird little shits out there in the streets tonight?"
Are those kids still loitering out there?
Yeah. Tell those
Get
freaks
off
to
my
go
lawn.
home. Yeah. So, well, and
Come out and play.
I was saying that maybe I mixed that up. Maybe we should have started with Lee, and then in the second beat done Elliot. right?
I don't know that it matters, and I don't know that we're necessarily
Your
like,
chapter, whatever feels good.
You can, I
Well,
can mix
see,
it up
here's
any
the
way
reason
that
why
works.
I think chronologically speaking, it makes more sense.
Okay.
And that's first off, I think Lee Elliot Lee feels better as a flow, but on top of that, Lee's already where he's going. You know, when we finish the last chapter, the strip club that Lee goes to is right across the street from the Huntsman.
That's true. I was going to
So
say he doesn't have a car, but you're
Elliot-
talking he literally walks across the street. So
Elliot has a journey back to the shop where his car is fucked up. He's exhausted. He's probably not going really fast. He's smoking a joint, whatever, right?
So you're gonna go.
I think
from
he'll wait till he
the
parks.
bodeck at the gate to Lee opening the door to the strip club.
Right. So yeah, Lee walks in and he sees his girl up on stage and he plops his ass down and gets a drink. And you know, we can go through this whole thing where he's grabbing a whiskey and he's
I think
watching
here
his
is
girl.
where you're going to get a lot of world building in, because so far there's a little bit in a car chase, but you haven't seen what's out there. You know what I'm saying? And this is a good place to get like a sampling,
Right.
like Star Wars did with that bar. You know, that kind
Well,
of thing.
The cantina.
Only when he's wearing
Yes.
the sunglasses.
Well, that depends. I mean, yeah, the sunglasses are good to see just anything out in the world, but
Well, I'm saying
The sunglasses are to see past a glamour. Is
yeah.
there
So if the
glamour in
stripper
the
has
strip
wings,
club?
he needs the
Or
sunglasses.
is this a strip
well, they
club
live
that
in the real
caters to
world
other?
too. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but is this a strip club that caters to other, or is this
No.
a strip club?
How would
Because
that
truly,
exist?
Because all you do is paint it as a business that's
Well-
closed during the night.
and it's right across the street from a place that specifically
I
does with
get
these
that,
people.
but do you think that's going to be enough traffic to keep the business
I think
open?
there's
Okay, let me
more
ask you
around
this.
here than just that too.
You drive down any, main street here, and you always see these. They look like business buildings, but they're nondescript, and you don't even know what's in there. Is there
True.
any reason you would ever just stop and walk in? No, not unless you specifically made an appointment with one of the offices in there. Would you ever set foot in one of those buildings?
I
So what's
actually
the
have out of
difference?
sheer boredom and curiosity.
Really?
Yeah, but I was walking at the time. I wasn't driving a car. I didn't actually stop, pull over my car, and find out.
Also, if there's magic, it's simple enough to have, some sort of walk away ward or look away or something that delivers an ominous feeling if you get too close.
And there
you
weren't
know?
furry strippers. I was
Well, we
hoping,
could
but,
do this instead. What if he orders his drink? We don't have to say anything about it, but what if it's in the drink, right? So he takes the drink and then the glamours melt away.
Or this is so simple.
I mean,
Here's the thing: is that this place is right outside the Huntsman,
Right.
which means they probably cater to bounty hunters a whole lot.
Sure.
So what if there is a front of the strip club when you first walk in that looks like human strippers? Then you get the VIP room, and that's where all the bounty hunters and other are.
Yeah, okay.
You just walk.
I
That
in.
might be
okay,
interesting.
I dig that because then they could be open free trade and
And-
shit, like guns and money.
Right, and we could introduce some of the
materials.
other hunters or other beings.
Actually, it might not
All
be a bad
different
place
kinds
for
of
the
creatures.
black market magical goods shop.
But then we can't put it beneath the wallpaper store.
Wallpaper store.
All right.
So we
I'm
have to
just
have a
say-
use for a
I'm
wallpaper
just saying you
store,
could
man.
have some illicit activity in the back that nobody gets to
Oh, I
beat wise
definitely
No,
of.
no,
think
yeah,
there
there's
should be.
probably gambling and all kinds of other shit too.
Magic, drugs.
Okay, I can dig that.
So
But otherwise, I mean, I just see him wearing
And-
those sunglasses all the time, anyways.
I don't think they're alone. I think there's other like mystical beings here that just hang out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that they're
yeah,
not
I
hunters
agree.
or
I don't
anything.
think it's just hunters, but I think that it would be, anything can hang out there. But I
So-
I like the idea of like a facade, and then you just walk past that.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, there's probably some kind of bouncer or something like that.
It could
that you have
even
to
be
get
that
past.
Oh
the
God,
humans-
yes, there is.
the
Have you been to a
human-
strip club?
The human stage is an illusion. You know, like those aren't even real women. If you want the real ones, you got to go back to the.
See, I think it's both. I think like maybe 40% of the staff is weird or other, which is a lot. But I mean,
How
I
would you
guarantee
keep
there's
it a
a lot
secret
of
from the human strippers that work up front?
maybe
well,
it's not a
maybe
secret
they're
to
not
them.
human. Maybe
Maybe
they're,
Glamour.
they're just friendly.
their glamour works up front. It doesn't
Could
work
be.
out back.
Like
Yeah.
the stage lights are glamour, or create the glamour.
Well,
yeah, along those lines.
Yeah, they could definitely do that.
Okay, so however you want to work it, that's up to you. But that's
Sure.
like I think that this is a good place to build a lot of the world.
Okay, so we'll actually put like Lee walking into the strip club, getting his drink, you know, what he sees, what's going on and everything. Him getting settled. They know who he is, you know.
Yeah, this would be a good place to show all his vices and the underworld. So, like, he might be like, and I went 5 points on that game.
I don't know that I'm going to do a whole lot of talking
orders a
or
steak.
anything. It's going to be a lot more description and him moving through the place or whatever. But okay, so
well, interacting with the bartender,
Yeah.
the bouncer. And
That's
that
what I'm
kind
saying.
of
Like he
thing.
might.
I definitely think the bouncer should not be human.
This could be almost a
well, this is
social
most
environment.
definitely a Fae-owned
Hippo
establishment.
shifter or something funny.
Like the strippers are an aside. It's not even the point. Like this could be like a whole social. Like this is where the huntsmen hang.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's a connection of the Fae world and those who hunt the Fae. So, I mean, only if you step out of line, of course.
Right. Only if you end up with a price on your head. Like they don't give a fuck if you obey the law,
So,
unless they're getting paid for it.
be interesting if we could show something seedy happening, like there's something illegal going on, and he catches it, but he doesn't do anything.
I feel like that
Like
should
what?
happen right out in the open.
Drug
because,
sales?
It's not the bounty hunters they have to worry about. As long as the Combine doesn't catch them,
Right.
If
But-
there's no price on their head, there's nothing in it for the bounty hunter, they don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like
Yeah, they're not
that-
cops. That's it.
That is
they're
the
not
perfect
cops.
way to show Lee's ambiguity towards good and bad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just not my problem.
Well, the only real rule, other than don't do anything that I get paid to stop, is don't spill the beans. Well, as long as they're keeping cover, nobody cares.
So, okay. But that really goes at the end of the first beat, and then we move Elliot walking into the pizza shop and talking with Pops like we described in the last section is the end of the second beat. But what we really have is, in the beginning of the second beat, is the Bodek has entered the he is now on the compound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Bodek is
Are you doing that in between Lee and Elliot or after?
right. So Lee does his part.
Okay.
Then it fades back to the compound, right? So we started with compound. The Bodek gets to the gate. When he opens the door, Lee is actually opening the door into the strip club,
Yeah,
right?
I get it. Loki's basically doing the Jaws thing. So we're getting incremental story. Bodek creeps forward. Incremental story. Bodek creeps forward.
Right.
I get it.
So the Bodek is now on the grounds, and maybe he kills the children. Really kill a couple of the guards or whatever.
Or at least draw them out to be like one of the guards goes, what was that noise?
Well,
Goes
see,
looking for it.
so
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I
the
felt like the guards wouldn't even know it happened.
I feel like the Bodek is moving with purpose through the shadows, right? He's
Yeah.
like going to shadowed areas and stuff like that. But the children have scattered across the grounds now. Like they spread
Within
out.
the grounds?
Yeah, they spread out, and maybe they're, they overwhelm a guard. They
See, I don't think they need to encounter the guards. I think the only thing the guards would ever know is the of the guy who's just basically being
How
bit to death.
incompetent are these guards? They have to be somewhat other, right? They have to be something
I mean,
more.
small, creepy kids. You don't think they
They're
could
not
sneak around?
human.
how many say? What do we say there were? Like a dozen of them?
What, the kids?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll see
You
emotion.
get a bunch of
and
them gang up on one dude. He's done.
And I mean, honestly, they're probably armed. Why would they not be?
The
You know?
children are the yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is there that many guards? I mean, is this guy's life under constant threat, or is he just
How
a
are they
rich
killing?
douche?
Do they have magic? They're fae.
Yeah, but they're children. I just
Children
imagine they were
don't have
overwhelming
magic?
a target and eating them.
Yeah, no, they're not even children. They're haunted flesh vessels.
Yeah.
So
They're,
then I
they're
say
undead.
weapons.
I say have them eat them.
Yeah. You know, claw and tooth.
Whatever.
You know, he dies by hickeys, basically.
I don't know, man. I like this. I almost like the idea of them like playing with their prey. Toying with them, creeping them
Like
the
playing
fuck
tug of war with the intestines.
like a cat and mouse kind of thing.
You mean like
Ew.
jumping rope?
No, but hey, if
One,
that's where you
two.
want to go with it. Oh fuck, that's gross. My turn. Oh my
Or,
god, they start
Red
playing
Rover.
tug of war with it.
Red Rover with the body parts.
That'd be a great part for the guards to finally notice.
The Bodak is like pinching its
What the hell are you guys
nose.
doing?
No, then yeah, it would have to lose control of them.
Tom.
But that's horrifying.
I can't feel my legs.
Want to turn?
I can feel them. They're right over here.
Yeah, no. But at this point, I think they've breached security and they're starting to take down. Because I think we said that nobody was left at the end of this. There's no witnesses.
Nobody on the premises.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's no witnesses. These people all have to die.
I mean, if they see it, they do.
Motherfucker's gonna die tonight.
How many guards does he have?
Yeah,
I don't know. It
figure,
doesn't
like,
have to be a lot.
2 along the way.
Oh,
I mean,
I
he
was
might
thinking-
have 8 total, but does he have to
I
kill
was thinking
all of
like
them?
4 or 5 or whatever, but you leave no witnesses.
I mean, whatever's between. A
I
and
guess
B.
somebody's gotta be left behind to make the call, right?
No, not necessarily. He's a sorcerer that's a member of the Combine,
Look, you
right?
didn't have to go with it.
Eventually, someone's going to come looking.
But I
yeah,
felt
but
that
we
he was
wanted
in
it to
a.
happen pretty quick because Lee was going to answer the phone
So he misses a meeting.
before the end of the
The
chapter.
sorcerer was supposed to show up at the Monday morning meeting.
I
Well,
was
what
thinking-
about the person's?
Odin described him as having a boyfriend. I thought
Yeah, I
maybe
was gonna
his
say,
boyfriend
discovers
makes
the
the call.
corpse.
Oh, I thought that was a different sorcerer.
Oh, it can be. Like I said, I just had an image of a victim. We use them here, use them later. I don't care.
Why did they let the boyfriend live?
I'm assuming
not the
because he
target.
didn't encounter the issue. You know,
He's not 200 years old.
Why are the guards the target then?
they're in the way.
Whatever.
I mean,
Or they're
yeah,
a
they're not
potential
raising
threat.
the ground. I mean, they're
It's
just
not like the boyfriend's got an AK-47 like the guards do. You know, so
Jesus. That's some serious hardware they're walking around with.
If you're going to go that route, then the neighbors heard it. You know?
I don't know. That seems kind of anachronistic. I maybe some sort of like submachine gun.
is it too cliche?
I just
feel like that's a really like,
full
what,
on
what are you
AK
doing
just
with
seems
that?
excessive.
You know?
You do realize that we do have places like that around here, right?
That guard with machine guns?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. There are wealthy homes within the city that are protected
That are
by
Wait,
guarded
machine
by
gun
machine
Private
armed
homes
dogs
in this city?
guards. Yes,
What?
and an island. There's an island in Lake Erie that's guarded by armed guards.
Well, yeah, we have all heard such rumors, which I will not comment on that as I do not wish to be sued or disappeared.
It's very weird, though,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least. So yes, these things exist. So yeah, so we'll go. They get to the
Okay, but
gates.
here's my thing with them. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. The machine guns could basically tear apart a child's body. No?
Oh yeah,
Like they could stop the change.
but there's
5 guards, a
I-
dozen kids. They're going to take some down.
yeah.
So you wanted what? Handguns?
I was picturing
I feel like that's
20, 30
normal.
kids.
That's a lot of fucking dead
It's a
kids.
child cemetery. You know, it was an influenza year.
Just remember, though, no child left behind.
Oh, Jesus.
And remember, they're not all the same
No,
size.
no. I'm saying if they kill one, they got to take it with them.
Some are nearly adult size. Some are little
Not
small
like
ones.
Betsy DeVos is going to eat them or anything like that.
They're running at different rates.
Oh, for fuck's sake, people.
She does, but not these children.
Anyway.
They're too old.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm saying maybe they're not. I don't know. Would they even be armed with guns? Wouldn't they be armed with magic? They're guarding a sorcerer's house.
I don't think that
Why would
everybody has
he?
magic just because it's a magical world.
Yeah.
Do you think a sorcerer would only have guns guarding his house? Would
No,
he use
he's gonna
mundane
have.
methods?
He will have some certain wards and protections.
Right, yeah. They got to get
I'm
past
not
the
by
wards.
any means saying everybody is magic. What I'm saying is that the men that a sorcerer hired to guard his house would not have nothing but
Depends
mundane.
how powerful
So you're
religion
thinking,
he is.
you're
Human.
thinking they're going to have wands and
All
stuff.
fireballs and shit. Yeah.
No, not wands.
Leviosa.
I'm not saying wands at all. What I am saying is
Wait,
that
what's a destruction one?
a cocky sorcerer who thinks he's better than everybody else is not going to resort to mundane human methods to protect himself.
You use everything in your disposal. He might even have a trebuchet. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I think that's a good note, actually.
Trebuchet?
No.
Oh.
He uses everything at his disposal.
So even if they're human, they would have magic. I mean,
Maybe.
this guy rules the fucking magical world. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I don't-
he's one
He's
of the
put-
people.
I guess it depends on
He's
who
one
he
of
is.
the people. He's put himself at the top of the food chain.
But yeah, if he's got the money and he cares
Which
about
we're
his
pointing
soldiers.
out that he has the money because he's got an entire estate.
Okay, so the question is, okay, we have armor that could protect soldiers very well because, say 30 grand. They're never going to see that armor. So are we suggesting
yes,
that
but
he...
those soldiers aren't directly protecting anybody important,
Okay.
and that's why.
So you're saying that is sense of preservation trumps his.
Right, that's the thing. If a wealthy person perceives that they need, like, this person is my line of defense between me and the outside world, they're going to spend a little more money making sure that
Well, then
person
they might
doesn't
have
go
some
down.
magical means. They might.
I don't know that he'd worry about the armor, but I think that he would arm them with magic.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, because the first thing is that these guys are going to think is probably non-magic beings taking down his people. So they may have things on them like personal wards, which will protect them against bullets, but it probably won't protect them against a legion of undead children.
That's fair. Like I was describing Lee with his enchanted gun. They might have enchanted machine guns or SMGs, and I like your idea that their bullet
it just
resistant
sounds
armor
a lot like they're
might be
guarding
enchanted.
him from humans as opposed to guarding him from magical beings.
Well, how often does magical beings attack magical beings? It's a bad precedent to set, really.
Why is he afraid of humans?
Because we're dangerous.
Robbers? I don't know. It's a good question.
I feel like he'd be more afraid of the
Well,
magic.
like I
people
said,
looking
I
for
mean, I said from the
revenge.
beginning
And
that this place
obviously,
is warded.
He's done shady as fuck shit.
No,
I mean,
Tyr's got a point.
He's offended the magical world on more than one occasion.
But how often does magic on magic violence happen?
Let's
like it
consult the
happens often
statistics.
enough.
I will look it up.
Good luck
I'm
with
just
that.
saying, is like the Combine is the powerhouse, and to attack a leader of the Combine
Yes,
is a ballsy, stupid, dangerous
It is
thing
a
to do.
ballsy, stupid thing, but they have committed offenses against the magical community in the past in his very long life. Exhibit A is the
That's fair.
Exhibit A is the huge amount of dead children that are now coming back to haunt him.
So what do you propose?
I'm not
That they
proposing,
have more than just.
Oh, no. You
regular
cannot
protection.
create a problem unless you have a solution in mind.
says the pot to the kettle. I'm saying that the guards would not be strictly human guards with human bullets and no kind of like magical defense.
So they have wands.
Not
Or they just
one.
might be elven. I mean, why not? One or
It's
two of the
possible.
guards?
Yeah, like it could be a mix. Maybe some guards to defend.
Okay,
against
I'm not
humans.
against that these things may be fey themselves
And I
in
do
some
feel
way.
that they have to breach the iron gates that the Bodek could not naturally cross on its own. There has to be a breach. Maybe a car comes through. And
That's true. If they're fey, he can't have iron gates.
Oh, no, he should definitely gonna have iron gates.
Well, the
A mage
the
without iron
soldiers
gates
can't
is a
be fey.
moron.
They can be. What about?
They just can't
wares?
cross the iron gates
What-
on their
It
own.
would weaken them, wouldn't it?
Right, but if the gate was held open by, say, a car passing through, it gets buzzed in.
No. The guards. I'm saying
The
that
guards are fine
can't
as long
be
as they don't
fey.
fuck with the gates. They're fine. It's
No,
not
no,
gonna
I'm
do anything.
talking about the
I'm saying,
Bodek.
what about wares for the soldiers?
Could be.
I think it's a mix.
I'm sorry, the guards.
I got what you
yeah,
meant.
Could
maybe,
be a
maybe it's a
mix,
mix.
but
Like
then-
there's wares yourselves, there's humans, there's a whole strike team.
There's not that many of them, so.
Yeah,
well,
you
now
got a
that
handful
I don't
of
know,
guards.
suddenly they're the UN. They sound pretty
Also,
badass.
I mean, cocky sorcerer who thinks that he's like this high up. Maybe I say a handful of guards tops,
Okay.
just
Point-
because he thinks he's untouchable.
Point taken.
So when this goes down, it's gonna be all the more embarrassing.
All right. We'll
Maybe
come
so.
back after the break and we'll discuss the last section and what we might do to fix that little plot hole, I guess.
Okay.
Loki, what is best in life?
To crush your word count goals, to have them edited for you, and to hear the Dark and Stormy Nights podcast on Podbean, Google Play Music, and iTunes.
That is good.
Okay. So we are back and we've come up with a couple of tweaks. So in the second section, where we're at the Sorcerer's Mansion, we discover that most of the security is golems.
Of various varieties.
They're statuary that fit in with the landscape, that
So-
have been enchanted and tied to wards that when they are set off, they come to life.
When the perimeter is breached, right?
And then
Or
we said
when
what-
that
there's-
ward is breached.
There's probably a couple living,
patrolling the
patrolling
area
as
that
well,
look
too.
human.
so those can be either fey or wares of some sort, but if we want to. But they are likely armed with guns.
And maybe they have the ability to activate some golems, but largely it's if you trip a zone, that golem might wake up
Right.
and attack you.
Right. And it's possible, I'm not sure I'm going to use it or not, but it's possible that should the sorcerer die, so do the enchantments die with that sorcerer. It's possible. I don't think I would design things that way if I was the sorcerer. I would want revenge.
You have to be careful with that because is that going to be an across-the-board thing? Here's my thing.
I think it's how you design the spell, and I think it would be
okay, 'cause
silly
I
to
was gonna
design the
say
spell
if you're
that way.
talking about
It might be
you're
more
talking about
cost
killing
effective.
Nigel down the road. Is that going to kill Lee and Elliot and all that? You know, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is if you're going to set that precedent, you have to define how it works. Does their magic all die?
I see what you're saying. Well, I'm talking about in the enchantments in this case.
Well, it wouldn't make sense in the black market of selling used magical items because most of those people will probably have dead creators.
Right.
I mean, but in the case of golems as well, if you're creating them specifically for the purpose of protecting you,
Those
you're dead,
would,
Not-
because
Once you're dead, why would they need to continue to work?
they would either protect the house, then they would be immortal, or they're protecting you. And if they're protecting you, yeah, I think they would die.
And that's, so there's certain types of magic that just legend and lore is that they would die with the creator.
Or you
and-
tie them to your
and
life.
you want them to, because otherwise, without a creator of that magic being alive, that magic may run amok. And so there's
True.
certain things that you want it to go with the
Right,
with
so
its
as long
master.
as you have some sort of stipulation in there to explain it, then you're all good. You could do it however
Yeah, it
you
would
want.
make sense. Like it'd be almost like in those movie trope that I don't know if anyone's ever actually done, but like they hook a nuke to a heartbeat monitor. You know,
Are you kidding me? It's been like 5 movies that I've
I
seen.
know, but has anyone actually done that?
Oh, in the real world? No,
Yeah.
that's never happened.
But the point is that like magically that makes sense. To put a little piece of your soul in each one of these animate golems makes a lot of sense. To protect you, I can get that.
Right.
So it to stop working when you die makes total sense. You know, so if you work out the metaphysics of it, I think in that scenario it makes sense, but I don't think it is in all magic.
So I feel like, though, that these guys are going to want to move through this pretty quickly. We want them kind of making a beeline for their target. And being that the entire back of this building is glass, I don't think it'll be hard to find him. So I think they're going to make a beeline. It's probably going to activate a few of these golems, not all of them, and they're probably going to get the attention of at least one of the guards. So there's going to be a little battle on the way to where they're going, but they're pretty much going right for their target. So at the end of this, of course, this is where Elliot is walking into the... So I think that's what it is. It's when they enter the house. At the moment they enter the house, Elliot enters the pizza shop.
Cool.
Ooh, that could be fun. Because I'm picturing like metal sculpture, you know, water fountain, 15-foot tall, creepy, giant, you know, weird, abstract golems coming. But it could just as easily be a suit of armor or some weird, you know, mannequin for like, you know, designing clothes on or something. Because once you're in the mansion, there's all kinds of other weird golems you could throw in there.
So, well, yeah, and the place is odd in and of itself. So once inside, they have to get through the interior security measures to take out the sorcerer. I don't think it's going to be that hard once they're inside. But this is where the Bodak shines, I think, more than the children, right? The Bodak. So the children are holding off the surrounding stuff. Do we want to do that? Do we want to give away the Bodak, or are we going to have him work
I
through
kind
the
of feel
children?
like it's just a creeping thing in the background.
So we're going to have him kind of work through the children. The children are going to do all the work while he sits back and commands.
I mean,
you think?
could like flash to it, but I don't know.
I don't understand what you're asking.
Do we want to reveal the Bodak at this moment?
The Bodak's been revealed in the
That's
original
true.
scene.
So this is a Bodak moment.
I feel like I know that was spur of the moment, but it really felt like you were working up to that. Like, can I use
He's
that
like,
here?
I've been waiting this whole episode.
No, I totally riffed that. That was
Kidding, I'm kidding.
completely off the cuff.
Yeah, I feel that. But
Another of the Lokiisms.
All right.
So I promise
But
you.
it doesn't mean you have to spell out everything about it. I mean, sure, we know it's a villain, we know it's behind the scenes, but what is it really about? We don't know.
Well, that's the thing. So it's going to make a mess at this point. It's just going to kill the sorcerer. And I don't think we have to say much else. I think it can cut away after it kills him or whatever.
So, okay, so you're going to kill the sorcerer here.
Yeah. So the third beat, the sorcerer dies.
Shreds.
And then we cut to Lee in the strip club. And I don't know if he's getting a lap dance or he's sitting with the girl, or maybe she got up to go do something. He gets his phone call, and he's being called in on this one.
I'm curious
I
if
feel
he's
like-
bored and disinterested. Like one of his girlfriend's friends is like giving him a lap dance, and he's like he doesn't really care.
I feel like he's talking to his girl, and then he gets the call, and he's like, "I gotta run outside I gotta take this," and he heads out. And then, like we said, maybe he just doesn't come back in.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, I think he walks outside, he takes the call, and he's looking right at the huntsman from here, right? Because this is like directly across the street. And you can see the huntsman's like neon sign, and you can hear the buzz from it, right?
Oh, I like that. That's atmosphere.
You know.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if he's going to be a true dick, if we really want to paint him that way, and I don't mean detective, I mean asshole, he should complete the phone call by continuing walking across the street, going right up to Nigel or whoever's actually calling him from the huntsman, and be like, "Yeah, man, I can hear you." Like,
Well, I think what he's seeing, what he's watching in front of him, is a few of the other hunters rushing to their vehicles. You know, as he is on the phone
okay, that's
listening
cool.
to details.
I can dig it.
That others are being called in. It's not just him.
I don't think you even need to go that far. I'm saying, I got to take this. I'll be right back. And he goes outside, and he can see the huntsman. That's fine. And maybe you see like one or two hunters rushing to their car, but all he gets is Nigel saying, "I got a bounty for you,"
Right.
and then you cut out.
I feel like he's struggling with quitting smoking, but he's smoking right now.
Why is he quitting?
I don't know. He's an older guy. It's just a good idea.
Maybe he complains about it every time he goes to buy a pack. Why are these things getting so fucking expensive?
But this just feels like a scene where he's smoking, watching all the cars drive off. Like, what kind of clusterfuck is this going to be? You know?
Yeah, it's something to think about. I like the idea of building the atmosphere here, like she was saying, where I think he's a little irritated. You know, they don't call hunters in on things, so this is odd, and we kind of have to give that feeling. I think, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that they're not detectives. They're not, you know.
No, it's here's the bounty, and if you take it, you take it.
Well, that's the thing. There's a bunch of bounties, and you guys have to handle these things and get some money done or whatever. And nobody ever gets a phone call that says, "Hey, come do this bounty." That
right?
doesn't.
No, it's whoever gets them first gets the money.
This is very. What the fuck is going on right here?
Now, he is a gruff, too old for this crap kind of guy, sure. But him trying to quit smoking makes a lot of sense with him being irritable.
You really want to push this, huh?
No, I just think it adds a dimension of
Are you feeling it right now?
I actually am.
Tomorrow I'm a full year no smoking.
God damn.
Awesome.
I'm over, I think I'm past the 42 days.
So it's a little weird that we're bringing this up now, but yeah, as
Congrats.
of tomorrow.
I think that I quit 2012-ish.
Wow.
Damn.
I
That's
still
almost
want 'em.
ancient history.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But my point is, I can see that irritability, that grating, that like, you know, like you're just clenching your teeth. Like,
Yeah, I've been there. I get it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that.
I just feel it from him. I feel that kind of tension. I don't know.
Pops a nicotine gum. Which
You would be surprised
are
how many
disgusting.
podcasters I'm listening to who are addicted to the gum.
It's
Like they've
disgusting. How do
They
you get
quit for like
addicted?
8 years and like I can't stop popping it. This lozenge is tasty as hell.
What? They're terrible.
Well, yeah, well,
They're disgusting.
if you're addicted to it, it tastes great.
No, it tastes like mint ashtray.
And you're like, there's no side effects. I'm like, maybe not to having one or two, but you're having like 40, dude.
No, oh
That
my
can't
god.
be good for you.
No.
I guarantee that nicotine affects your system.
Well, yeah, we have.
Oh, it's supposed to have
We have
something to do with
nicotinic receptors.
blood pressure. I don't know.
So
Yeah, no side effects.
There's
my
not a
ass.
lot of studies done on just
Makes-
nicotine on
makes
itself.
me poop.
Good to know.
Makes everybody poop. It's like coffee.
Yeah. Well, it does better than coffee does. Coffee doesn't do half as good as cigarettes used to.
This is an interesting topic. How are we doing with the story plotting?
Well, I'm just thinking that maybe
I-
Lee he has a cigarette and he has to poop.
That's more of a morning thing, but it is a fun
That's
detail.
where you want to go.
No,
with
no,
it.
you want to go full, you know, like the drunk detective.
No, I don't think he has
vibe.
a cigarette. I think that he puts it in his mouth. He rolls it around between his lips. Maybe He never lights it. He puts it back over his ear.
Oh, you're
and
going
pops
to
a piece of
Kojak,
gum.
where he's like got that sucker thing going on all the
Oh,
whole
dude,
time.
all kinds of people do it. They do it all the time. I used to keep one for a little bit until it didn't work anymore.
Oh, see, I
And
feel
then
like he hasn't quit yet. Like we got to wait a few books.
I
before
felt
he gets to
myself.
quit.
I felt myself so close, like a hair's breadth close to lighting that thing, and I handed it to a friend. I was
don't
like,
know.
"Here you go. You can have it."
It's still nice to stand next to somebody who's still smoking, which is almost no one anymore.
Smell that? That's death.
Serotonin.
Maybe he just keeps like an old half a pack in his shirt pocket, but he never actually smokes them anymore. He just pulls one out every once in a while, sticks it in his mouth, never lights it, puts it back, has to go do something. Like that's, he like pops it in his mouth, and then
So-
he's taking the call, shoves it back in his pack. All right, I gotta go.
So you're saying he's going to be Mel Gibson?
It's
At
almost
some point,
like-
he's going to snap and call an ex-wife.
Then
like,
you have to-
You make me want to smoke.
Then you have that picture in the cellophane of the cigarette pack. You know what I'm talking about? Like some people use the cellophane between the box, and they stuff things in there. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people put their lighter in there or whatever. Just got some picture we never explain.
That's cool. But yeah, like you could almost do it like you're not saying he doesn't smoke, but you're kind of interrupting him every time he's gonna light it. He just never gets around to it because he has to. Okay, well, Nigel's calling. I gotta go.
But at the end of it, we can have him smoking weed with Elliot.
Should we make it his wife or girlfriend or whatever
Elliot
that's
sees-
like harassing him
No,
about
no.
it?
Oh.
No, why the fuck
Why?
does she care? Yeah, no. Have Elliot.
I
see
don't know. I feel like she cares more
Have
than
Elliot
it
see
seems.
the cigarettes. Be like, dude, that'll kill you while he's smoking his joint.
Right. You talking about the pixie girl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't
I
think
feel like
she
their
cares.
relationship's much more serious than it appears.
I think
Eh.
there's an oddity to it that, like, two people who are intertwined but will never be able to fully be together.
She's a nymph. She's all about
Oh, that's
free
right,
love.
nymph, not pixie. So,
Didn't we say nymph?
we kicked it around. We kicked it back and forth.
I'm not even sure what the words mean when a 6 foot tall person. I mean, it's not
Or
like
did we
it's not like
say
4
that
inches
the
tall.
the
So
villain was a nymph?
Well,
Somebody
I've
was
had
a
that problem
fucking nymph.
with fairies and stuff like that because in, like, Carnival Row, they're
right.
normal human size. They
That's
just
what I'm
have
saying. It's
dragonfly
like
wings.
these words mean nothing. Just tell me what attributes apply.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't his stripper girlfriend that was the nymph. It was the teaser girl for Elliot.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Shit, do we have to introduce her?
I did.
can
It should be
wait.
early, but not this early. I
Yeah,
think.
it can wait till next chapter.
Well, isn't she with the other girl as she...
Yeah, we have to
Acknowledges-
introduce her.
Well, no,
after-
because she's not yet that girl. That girl is still
you're not going to ever see her become that girl.
right. But at this point, she's just who she is. Later, when she
does-
gets
doesn't
replaced,
exist
she'll
at
have that
this
girl with her.
point. No, it's not until Elliot becomes involved in the case that girl can be brought in.
Okay.
So no, we can't introduce her yet. All right. So, anything else that needs to go in this chapter?
I think that's it. I think we're going to close it out on everybody being called in.
Okay, well, we got his job. We got the underworld. We got his vices. It'd be nice to see a little bit of redemption, warmth out of him. Whatever good things. I don't know what. I'm not saying a lot. Not saccharine.
Out of Lee?
Yeah.
No. Establishing normal. He's a grumpy bastard.
I don't know. Just like he passes a bum who harasses him and he gives him a buck without really making much shit of it.
Nope. I don't think so. Do you?
I don't think there's anything
Something.
redeeming about him in this chapter.
I think that if you don't make him a hard ass in these early chapters, he has nowhere to grow.
Fair.
I think the only glimmer of softness you're going to get is maybe towards the girlfriend.
Yeah, and I think it's
still
just
feel like that's more than making it.
quiet affection, like touching or something like that, not anything verbal.
Like he's not as much of a grumpy bastard towards her.
Oh no, not at all.
Right, but I'm saying, just like running his hand on her side or on her hand or something like that. He's not going to verbalize it even. I don't even. He's not going to.
But he'll
so much
talk
to say he
her,
likes
he'll
her.
talk to her without the attitude.
Yeah, he'll have a little bit of respect
A respect, yes.
when talking to her, right? But nobody else gets respect. You
Right.
know?
Agreed.
So that's the closest you're going to get to love.
Right. Like he has room to grow here.
Right. So, yeah, Lee's not a fun guy as far as all that
Not
goes.
yet. And then Elliot, you can play up his personality a little bit. It looks like you just have like a glimpse of him like in the pizza shop and then maybe going up to his apartment, right?
Yeah, I think that him and Pops are going to have a little conversation, and then he's going to retire for the night.
Okay.
Do you think he's going to shut out the supernatural completely, or do you think he's Googling it right now?
I don't know. We'll kick it around a little bit. What I do want to know is, do we need me to set up to go anywhere else after that? So do we
it's
have
hard to
even-
say without saying.
I've got a bounty for you. You're setting all sorts of shit up with that.
So you don't think we need anything else? It's good enough that we just kill the old bastard and be on with it?
Well, the very next chapter,
I think
we
so.
want to
Okay.
have the investigation started. He gets on the scene, yada, yada, yada. So how do we
Well,
get from
this
here to
is,
there?
I think,
Tiny
where we...
bite marks all
This is
over.
where I think we introduce that girl we were talking about, the nymph,
Mhm.
as well as the other hunter.
You can't
That's soon?
introduce her until after. Oh fuck! Next chapter is going to have to be like investigating the crime scene.
Right.
All of a sudden, Lee and Elliot are brought into this case. What the fuck's with the tiny bite marks?
Wait. Why is Elliot dragged into this at this stage?
You dragged Elliot into this in chapter 1. He's now
Right.
Lee's
But he went back to his
responsibility.
life and said, "Fuck this nonsense."
Yeah, and Lee's going to show up and be like, "Look, bitch, you're under my orders."
Yeah, I think
now."
that's all it's going to come down to. He's going to come
Okay.
along and say, it's time to get to work.
So what he's saying is, get in the fucking car.
See, that's why, though,
Yeah,
I
it's
wanted...
gonna be a
it would have been
matter
easier to
of-
do it my way.
Your life is now on my hands. You're stuck to my side.
Because my way, the pizza shop would be destroyed already, and he'd think, what else do I have to lose? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's a little.
I think he's going to drag him by force at
It
first.
robs him of a little bit of autonomy and choice.
You don't get autonomy. That's not what it's about. Nobody gives a shit what your decisions
There's
are.
no autonomy at this point. So,
Well-
like, basically, next chapter, Lee shows up,
Plus hero.
doesn't give Elliot a choice. Look, kid, it's my ass if anything happens to you. Let's go.
Yeah, at the very
Um,
least, you're going to learn a little bit to
maybe-
take care of yourself.
Maybe in your chapter, Elliot is super looking forward to 2 whole days off. And they're going to get fucked by Lee.
Okay. We got anything else?
No, I think
I'm super echoey again, huh?
Yeah.
That's
I don't
weird.
know.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. It started up in the last few minutes.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I think this is enough for me to go on to write a chapter.
Okay.
So fingers crossed I do a good job. I've got a vision in my head, and I'm really, really hoping to meet it.
I'm
So
sort
more
of,
than 5
I'm sort of
minutes.
excited. It sounds
So
pretty
what's
awesome.
that?
More than 5 minutes of prep.
I think there's going to be a lot of writing involved in this, so hopefully I got some downtime at work. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at the Dark Stormy K1. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play Music, iTunes, Podbean, so much more. Tell your friends about us. Tell your mom. Have a good weekend.
Don't forget, book 2 of the Finding Justice series is out. If you want to look that up, head over to my website, which is vicvasirmedia.com/Nova Drake.
They make good presents, so get them for your friends. See you next time.